Check it out, Casper!
Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Casper here, and around May last year, I released a video, TF2 2015, What to Expect, and with my genuine expectations, based on what we already knew at the time of what was coming that year. Unfortunately, only one of the 5 things I predicted, and they are listed on screen right now, only more hats actually came fully true within that year. I will touch on each of these points again now, sitting here in February 2016, about what is likely to happen this year, and I'm going to keep things a little bit more skeptical than last time. First up, we'll start with the big one, competitive matchmaking. So back in 2015 in May, all that had happened is that some community members had visited Valve. Valve had said to these very reputable community members, we are working on matchmaking, and pretty much all the components are there. Yet nothing really happened for probably about 6 months. However, matchmaking is now in the game. The code for matchmaking is all in the game, and there is a closed beta going on at the moment where at least 50 people have got competitive beta passes, or matchmaking beta passes, which means that they can play it. And the good news is there is an official Steam group, and I'll link this in the description if you're not already part of it, but the engineers behind this at Valve have now given us a lot more information and have said that this coming week, and depending on when you're watching this, this is the 20th of February, that they do plan to roll out more passes. Now, whether Valve time will take in effect here, we don't know, but competitive matchmaking is so close to the horizon. We're definitely going to see something this year, unless something goes horrifically wrong, but at the very least, some people in the closed beta, such as the competitive player Banny, are occasionally showing off what's inside it on Twitch. So if you do want to see it and you don't get a pass or passes get delayed, check out his Twitch channel, and he might even have some stuff on his YouTube, I'm not 100% sure. So next up that I predicted and is not yet happened is Source 2. Now if you don't know what that means, basically there's an engine behind the game which makes the game run everything it does, the same engine that's currently on Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and that's called Source 1 essentially. And the idea is there's a new version of this engine which will run the game a hell of a lot better. It will improve things on older, weaker systems, as well as better utilize newer systems. So I'm on a pretty powerful computer, but because Team Fortress 2 was designed for older computers, it can't actually utilize all the stuff on your good computers. Now, I predicted Source 2 to come last year. It didn't. However, it did come in Dota 2 around September time, in what's called the Reborn update. If you read this page here, dota2.com/reborn part 3, I'll link it in the description, it explains all the things that Source 2 should be able to utilize in Dota previous version compared to the Source 2 version. But of course we don't care about Dota, we want to know about Team Fortress 2. Now it's no secret that there's performance issues in Team Fortress 2, so this would be a godsend for a lot of Team Fortress players on good PCs and on crappy ones. And obviously if they do want to go with matchmaking, then having performance increases would obviously be something that would make a hell of a lot of sense for them. The only problem is we've got no real indication whether Source 2 is being worked on for Team Fortress 2, is planned to come in the future for Team Fortress 2, or whether it will simply never come for Team Fortress or Counter-Strike for that matter. It'd be a shame if we never see major performance increases for Team Fortress, but ultimately I can't comment on the work behind converting a game to a new engine. Maybe the way Dota 2 was initially built, this was quite simple by comparison, but porting an old game like Team Fortress 2 to Source 2 might be a ton of work that they will never do, and maybe they'll just wait for Team Fortress 3 if such a thing ever exists. So the question, will we see Source 2 on Team Fortress 2 this year? I literally have no idea. There's no hard evidence to confirm that we will at this point in time. Bleak news with regards to bullet point number 3, the Spy vs Engineer update. I commented on this in my video last year because there are 100% files in the game which reference Spy vs Engie or Spy vs Engineer, and there's a ton of weapon abilities that were added around the time that these codes were added which aren't being used. However, to my knowledge, since these were added over a year ago, there's been nothing more added to the effect. Given that Valve now seem to be doing campaigns in Team Fortress 2, that seems to be the main focus of the sort of major updates. So unless we'll see a campaign featured around Spy vs Engineer, which, based on the Counter-Strike campaigns, isn't really the sort of thing that you get, then this is just looking like something that's just going to sit in the files, and maybe a developer one day will decide, oh yeah, I'll finish that update, or maybe not. So just like Source 2, there's no hard indication that we'll ever see this. Now, whilst there was no evidence at the time, and there's still no evidence for in-game streaming, I still believe that this is going to come, and it's going to come around the time of competitive matchmaking. For those of you who aren't familiar with Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it's got a massive viewership. A lot of people watch games in Counter-Strike, and that's what sort of feeds into the competitive community. And with matchmaking coming to Team Fortress 2, the theory is the Team Fortress team will want to maximize this in the same way that Counter-Strike is maximized and increase viewership of competitive Team Fortress 2 watching. So I don't know how easy it is for them to copy and paste these blocks in between Counter-Strike Go and Team Fortress 2, but all the technology is there for basically logging into the game and seeing all the active matches right now, the competitive matches. You can watch random competitive matches just by loading up Counter-Strike. So if competitive Team Fortress 2 does sort of take off once the matchmaking is fully in place and the rule set's decided, etc, etc, in theory new leagues will emerge, official LAN tournaments, etc, etc, and then those will be streamed in game. So I believe if matchmaking is successful, this is something that will probably come quite soon after. So yes, I do believe this will come this year still. And of course, hats. I predict this 3,000% to happen in 2016. I did also sort of believe that there might be new weapons. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if we had any new weapons last year. There was the Love and War update, which is the last new weapons I remember. In fact, let me quickly Google that. Wow, I was miles off. Love and War update was June 2014, so we haven't had new weapons for a long time. However, Valve have made a conscious effort to rebalance a lot of weapons. So whilst we haven't had new models with a completely new functionality, some weapons have been rebalanced so critically that they are essentially new weapons. So I think new weapons sort of are in the game, and especially now with matchmaking and with Valve so far telling us that they don't want to remove any weapons, we probably will see more weapon balances coming in the near future. So I don't have any new predictions. Obviously there's going to be new campaigns. I think they've been quite lucrative for Team Fortress, so there's no reason for them to not continue making said campaigns. Other than that, I don't really want to call anything because I was so wrong last year. If you've got an idea of something that's coming this year, let me know and hopefully we can all get hyped together, although hype trains often derail in this community. If you're not a subscriber, here's the subscribe button and a couple of videos for you to check out. And of course, thank you everybody for watching. If that ain't fair, I don't